Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MtG Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Jund Superfriends for Dominaria Standard. So we actually ran a list of this for Fan Friday. If you guys don't know what Fan Friday is, I take deck lists that you guys submit on Facebook, in the Facebook group, and then I run them on Twitch on my channel there. But this was a Jund Planeswalker list that was not exactly the same as this. I did a lot of retweaking, but I really did like the actual implementation of it. And let's get into it right now on here. Starting with, of course, the one creature, and then the important card that's our main artifact here. Starting up with our creature, we have Darigaz Reincarnated, a 7-mana 7/7 legendary creature dragon with flying, trample, and haste. And if it would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if Darigaz is exiled with an egg counter on it, remove an egg counter on it. Then if it has no egg counters on it, return it to the battlefield. So this is actually a very good card for us because it means that if it does die in combat or gets removed, something like that, it actually comes back for us. So the only way they're going to have to deal with it as far as getting rid of it from the battlefield is with a cast out, a seal away, or a Vraska's Contempt, something like that. But it's a huge flyer, it's a huge trampler, and it's a huge hasty creature. It's awesome. The other thing to get this out is the main artifact here in the entire deck that makes this kind of entire thing work for us. This is Thran Temporal Gateway, a 4-mana legendary artifact. You can pay for, tap it. You may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Historics are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. So again, just think about that. For 8 mana, over 2 turns, you can get out, the Reincarnated Dragon here that's a 7/7, or, if you have lots of ramp stuff like we do in the deck, you can get out, Planeswalkers for basically cheap. And of course, mana requirements, don't even worry about that. Thran Temporal Gateway has you covered. So let's go over the actual Planeswalkers here in the deck list. We have 4 Chandra Torch of Defiance, 2 Angrath the Flame Chain, 2 Nissa Vital Force, and 4 Vraska Relic Seeker. There was kind of a slot here for a new Karn, Sign of Urza, but I feel like Chandra kind of fills that list a little bit for us, as well as giving us the ability to hopefully get rid of some creatures on our opponent's side of the field and giving us some more mana if we need it. But Chandra's a 4-mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker, +1, exile the top card of your library. You may cast this card. If you don't, Chandra Torch of Defiance deals 2 damage to each opponent. That's okay. +1 again, you can actually get 2 mana to your mana pool, which is nice. -3, it deals 4 damage to target creature, which is very nice. At -7, if Chandra gets to -7, that's going to be the game for us. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So that's going to be basically the game for our opponent. Next up here we have Angrath the Flame Chain, a 5-mana 4 loyalty. +1, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. So very nice if your opponent's on control. -3, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next instep if it has converted mana cost 3 or less. So if we're playing up against an aggro kind of strategy, Angrath is going to be very good against that. If we're not, we're playing up against control. We're actually going to be able to probably swing in against a Torrential Gearhulk against our opponent for 5 points of damage, which isn't bad either. Moving up here, we have Nissa Vital Force, a 5-mana 5 loyalty Planeswalker, +1, untap a land you control until your next turn. It becomes a 5/5 elemental creature token with haste. It's still a land, not a token, just a creature. -3, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So if Thran Temporal Gateway is destroyed, Nissa is actually quite a good way to get it back from the graveyard. -6 here, you get an emblem. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. So again, if we're kind of ramping up like we do in this deck here, Nissa Vital Force, if it goes to ultimate, will actually mean we actually draw some extra cards and hopefully close to the match even sooner. And the last 4 of Planeswalkers in the deck is Vraska Relic Seeker, a 6-mana 6 loyalty Planeswalker, +2, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with Menace. That's basically our main creature production machine here. -3, destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment, which is a lot of stuff right now in standard. Create a colorless treasure artifact token with, of course, tap, sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So very good for that. And -10, target player's life total becomes 1. So if you have Vraska and Chandra, you can ultimate Vraska and then you just go plus Chandra. That's super good. And that's going to end the game for you. Again, believe it or not, Chandra I feel like is less expensive than Karn right now, so that's why Chandra is basically in the list over Karn. However, I do like Chandra being a little more flexible in the deck list here. But if you want to add Karn into this list, you definitely can because he can go into any deck list. Let's move on to actual spells and stuff in here. basically it's just full of removal and ramp if we can get to it. We have 4 Sweltering Suns in here. 3 mana sorcery, deals 3 damage to each creature. Very good if you're against a token-based strategy or a aggro-based strategy. And of course cycling for 3 colorless if we need to. We have 4 Vraska's Contempt in here because again we have lots of control to deal against, like another like a Teferi deck in control. We also have lots of big creatures on our opponent's side of the field we want to be able to exile. Vraska's Contempt is coming in here for that. A 4 mana instant, exile target creature planeswalker, you gain 2 life. So the gain 2 life is actually not bad either. We also have 3 Yahenni's Expertise in here, a 4 mana sorcery. All creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn, and you may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So Yahenni's Expertise into Sweltering Suns is actually surprisingly good. Like, I actually have used this several times in testing, and I'm just like, you know what? Doing 7 points of damage or 6 points of damage to everything, actually weakening like a large creature, making it so it can die to a Sweltering Suns, is super cool as well. Keep in mind, this actually does kill a Carnage Tyrant, funnily enough. We also have 4 Gifted Paradise here, a 3 mana enchantment aura. Enchant land when Gifted Paradise enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, so very nice. And of course, you can tap that enchanted land, add 2 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. So we have lots of double black, we have lots of double red here. Gifted Paradise is going to hopefully kind of coming in and tapping for that. Then we also have Treasure Map here, a 2 mana artifact, pay 1, tap it, scry 1, put a landmark counter on it. Then if there are 3, you can, flip this, turn it into a land, and we get 3 treasure tokens. So use those treasure tokens to either like sack to draw a card, or use them to kind of get out your Temporal Gateway, or maybe a Planeswalker you need to get on the battlefield as soon as possible. But yeah, basically we're just playing keep away until we get out the Temporal Gateway or a Planeswalker, and then just kind of keep our opponent out of our business until we either ultimate our Planeswalker, or just deal them damage with the dragon, or maybe some 2/2 menace creatures. But that is it for spells. Let's move on to the land base here. Land base is a little complicated. I did 2 of each for basic lands here, so 2 forests, 2 mountain, 2 swamp, and then 4 Rootbound Crag, 3 Blooming Marsh, which is our fast land, 3 Dragonskull Summit, 4 Woodland Cemetery, and of course a 3 of Dragon Slough, or Slough? Slough? I think it's Slough. I do feel like it probably would be better to take out 1 Woodland Cemetery and put another Canyon Slough, or Slough, or however you pronounce it. But this is what I kind of came up with here. You could also go with Spire of Industry because we do have the treasure map and, of course, the Temporal Gateway to tap for that if you want to. But I didn't like the life loss there as well. So I do think this is about where you want it to be. Of course, more testing is always needed for these land bases. But that is the full 60 in the Game 1 game plan. Basically, get out the Temporal Gateway as soon as possible. Get out some Gifted Paradise. Just kind of ramp as much as you can. And then just get out Planeswalkers every single turn until your opponent scoops. So let's move on to the sideboard here and see what we have. Starting with, of course, 3 Duress. If we're playing up against control, if we're playing up against anything with artifact removal, we want to bring the Duress in here to protect our combo, or kind of combo, to make sure we actually can get our Planeswalkers out sooner. A 1 mana sorcery, target opponent reveals his or her hand, you choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Very simple and straightforward. Another card for us to deal with like other artifacts in our opponent's strategy, like a Godfrey's Gift, or even like another Temporal Gateway strategy, is 3 Braid here. 2 mana instant, choose 1, deals 3 damage to target creature, or you can destroy target artifacts. So if the Sweltering Suns are not that useful in game 1, we take those out, we bring in the Abrades to make sure we have some artifact tate and some spot removal. That's very nice. Next up here we have Deathgorge Scavenger. We need some sort of graveyard like exile. Deathgorge Scavenger is a 3 mana 3/2. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you can exile a target creature card, or exile a non-creature card from the graveyard. If you exile a creature, you gain 2 life. If you exile a non-creature, you get a +1/+1 onto Deathgorge Scavenger for a turn. Next up we have 2 Lost Legacy, because Esper Approach and Blue-White Approach are kind of a thing right now, and we kind of want to represent that in the meta. So Lost Legacy is coming in here to deal with that. Next up we have 2 Hour Devastation. Again, going wide and big with some strategies right now are pretty irrelevant. So if Yahenni's Expertise is not cutting it, we take that out and we bring in Hour of Devastation as well. And again, against like control or against Blue-White Approach, something like that, we have Carnage Tyrant here, a 6 mana 7/6, can't be countered with Trample, and of course Hexproof. Can't be the target of Seal Away, Vraska's Contempt, all that kind of stuff has to be destroyed with a Fumigate or a Settled Wreckage, stuff like that. But that is the full 75, guys. Let's go to the actual layout here. On MtG Traders, this is coming to about 213 tickets, so not terrible for all the Planeswalkers you get in the actual list here. If you want to build this in paper, it's coming to about 358 bucks, so again, a little bit pricey thanks to the Chandras there, thanks to Vraska's Contempt. I want to say Treasure Map is also kind of getting up there in price again, and Carnage Tyrant in the sideboard as well, with Blooming Marsh in the land base. So that is the full deck list, guys. I had so much fun tweaking this deck list from Fan Friday, and I really do hope you guys like it. But of course, that does it for the video today, guys. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below on a deck you want me to cover next in the future, and I will definitely try to get to it as well. But besides that, guys, I love you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.